the meatpacking industry also recruited a new set of immigrants, illegal immigrants and recent immigrants from Mexico.
Many of the illegal immigrants coming to America were corn farmers in Mexico. NAFTA led to a flooding of the Mexican market with cheap American corn. It's put more than 1.5 million Mexican farmers out of work. They couldn't compete with this cheap corn coming from America. So what happens to those 1.5 million Mexican farmers?
Meat packers like IBP, National Beef, and Montford began actively recruiting in Mexico. Companies advertised on the radio and newspapers. IBP set up a bus service in Mexico to bring workers into the United States. For years, the government turned a blind eye to the recruitment of immigrants by the meatpacking industry. But now, when there's an anti-immigrant movement, they're cracking down all of a sudden, but they're not cracking down on these companies. The government is cracking down on the workers.
Immigration agents are arresting Smithfield workers at this trailer park. This is an agreement between Smithfield and immigration authorities. They get rid of 15 workers per day, but you don't see any massive raids. That way, it doesn't affect the production line. No tienen que darle ninguna información a ellos. Sir, we are trying to have... And she asked me a question. She's asking us questions, not you. I don't see anybody arresting no Smithfield managers. Nobody in the plant that had anything to do with the fact that those workers were hired is being arrested. What we see today is it's workers who are producing for this company, who are working hard. Those are the people who get arrested. We want to pay the cheapest price for our food. We don't understand that that comes at a price. These workers, they've been here for 10, 15 years, processing your bacon, your holiday ham, and now they're getting picked up like they're criminals. And these companies are making billions of dollars.
Is cheapness everything that there is? I mean, who wants to buy the cheapest car? We're willing to subsidize the food system to create the mystique of cheap food, when actually it's very expensive food. When you add up the environmental costs, societal costs, health costs, the industrial food is not honest food. It's not priced honestly, it's not produced honestly, it's not processed honestly. There's nothing honest about that food. I can't think of a better use for a Smithfield box.
It was about a 5-hour drive, maybe 300-400 miles. So, yeah. So, it's worth it.
I have no desire to scale up or get bigger. My desire is to produce the best food in the world and heal. And if in doing so, more people come to our corner and want stuff, then heaven help me figure out how to meet the need without compromising the integrity. That's where I am. I have absolutely no desire to be at Walmart. As soon as you grasp for that growth, you're going to view your customer differently, you're going to view your product differently, you're going to view your business differently, you're going to view everything that is the most important, you're going to view that differently.
This is our new organic line of popcorn.
This is Vita soy milk, the best soy milk in the entire world.
This entire show, when it first started, was the size of this column right here. Several of us were sleeping in our booths. We couldn't afford hotel rooms. Organic's been growing over 20% annually. It's one of the fastest growing segments in the food industry. We're not going to get rid of capitalism. Certainly we're not going to get rid of it in the time that we need to arrest global warming and reverse the toxification of our air, our food, and our water. We need to be much more urgent. And if we attempt to make the perfect the enemy of the good and to say we're only going to buy food from the most perfect system within 100 miles of us, we're never going to get there. As an environmentalist, it was pretty clear to me that business was the source of all the pollution, business was the source of basically all the things that were destroying this world. In college, I came across this little institute called New Alchemy Institute, which was a group of renegade biologists.
My hope is to give you
We were preaching a kind of a new religion, trying to develop food and waste treatment alternatives. But we were preaching to the convinced. We were depending on sources of support that were dried up. And we weren't reaching the audience that really needed these messages. I realized we need to not be David up against Goliath. We need to be Goliath. When we started out, we were a 7-cow farm. We wanted to prove that business could be part of the solution to the globe's environmental problems. And at the same time, we had to prove that we could be highly profitable. Today, in 2008, not only are we the #3 yogurt brand in America, but we're among the most profitable. This is the interesting thing. A little company like this is now Kraft, but you don't have any idea that it's Kraft. This is now Pepsi. That's now Kellogg's.
Cashiers Kellogg's?
Yeah. Now this is Colgate now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, this is one of these companies that, started like us.
And are they able to give their soul?
Well,
What made them different? What made them successful, basically?
It's a good, the jury is out, we have to put it that way. These large companies don't grow organically, they grow by acquisition. Coke, Pepsi, Kellogg's, General Mills, all of them are running, not walking, into the organic food business. For me, when a Walmart enters the organic space, I'm thrilled. It's absolutely one of the most exciting things. I have dreamed of the day when I could sit with corporate titans and have conversations about organics and sustainability. This is Amanda.
Hi, Amanda. I'm Rand. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Tony.
Hi, Amanda.
Tony.
Nice to meet you.
Great. Okay, help me figure out who you...
So we both work for Walmart.
You're Walmart, okay.
Yep.
Do you know that we don't go to Walmart? We've never been.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
So we had to come to you.
Yeah,
that's right.
We've never been. We just sort of boycotted a long time ago, and we just kept riding on that. But
Walmart is terribly sensitive to their reputation. They've obviously been vilified, probably more than any retailer in our current economy.
Actually, it's a pretty easy decision, to try to support things like organic or whatever it might be, based on what the customer wants. And we see that and we react to it. And so if it's clear the customer wants it, it's really easy to get behind it and to push forward and try to make that happen.
When I run into my old environmental friends, many are initially horrified by the kinds of company that I'm keeping these days. But when I then go on to explain what the impact of one purchase order from Walmart is in terms of not pounds, but tons of pesticide, tons of herbicide, tons of chemical fertilizer, the discussion, we get away from the emotion, we get down to the facts. This is really key, though, what you guys are doing here. I have no illusions about this. I don't believe that Walmart have come here because they've suddenly had a moral enlightenment. It's because of economics. I can debate with my radical friends all day long, but nobody can challenge the fact that a sale of another $1 million to Walmart helps to save the world.
Back around the turn of the last century, the average farmer could feed 6 or 8 people. Now, the average American farmer can feed 126 people, okay? These are the most productive humans that have ever lived. The changes down on the farm have been momentous and radical, but invisible to most of us, because who knows a farmer anymore? But their way of life has been revolutionized.
$10,000 years ago, farmers started saving their best seeds and planting again in the following year. That's how seeds have been developed. That's how corn was developed from a useless grass, for the most part, to the extremely productive plant it is today.
The idea that any corporation could own a food crop, is a very new idea. And it wasn't until the 1980s that the Supreme Court said you could patent life. And that opened the floodgates, efforts to patent the most valuable parts of life, which is to say, the crops on which we depend.
Monsanto's a chemical company. They produced DDT, Agent Orange in Vietnam, and then they developed a product called Roundup. We started hearing rumblings about genetically engineered soybeans that could resist the application of Roundup. And when the Roundup was sprayed over the top of it, it killed every weed out there except for this Roundup-ready soybean. I can remember when the first prohibitions against seed saving came into being, and most farmers were just absolutely disgusted with the whole concept. And it's been interesting over the course of 11 years to watch us go from utter contempt for the notion that we can't save our own seed to acceptance.
What happens if a farmer saves the seeds?
Well, really, there's only one company involved in this now, and that's Monsanto. Monsanto is they've got a team of private investigators that kind of roam the country, and they've got a little 1-800 hotline they take calls on, and if they get a call and somebody alleges that somebody saved seed, they'll send an investigator out to look into the matter. And you save your own seed, you're going to get a call from somebody from Monsanto.
Two men drove in my driveway at about 7:30 at night, presented a black card to me. And they never told me that they were from Monsanto.
They said that they had a surveillance team, got me clean beans.
I found it necessary to get up at 3 and 4 in the morning before the investigators are on the road following me.
They were, I'm going to say like maybe ex-military or ex-police. They were large and they were intimidating.
And I don't know whether they had a surveillance team or whether it was my neighbor that turned me in. I don't know.
And as I turned to walk in the house, one of them said, I could hear in the back, he's guilty. It's a really ingenious device designed back in the 1800s. And Monsanto's going to close all of them out.